What is up, boys? This is going to be a little different than my normal update videos. We're going to be doing a tier list. I've actually got the tier list maker website, and we're going to be ranking the units. So we've got a few tiers. I want to go over what each means so that we're on the same page. So we've got U's, which is, like, these are really good. You should use this unit. Good, like, it's a good unit, you can use them, but it's not like, I probably wouldn't use it, Buns, I mean, self-explanatory, not going to use that. And then DPS and support, just to categorize at the end. That way you guys know who is DPS and who is support out of these people, So I think the first one that I want to talk about is going to be well, let's start with the least interesting. So we've got the cat boy. Is it belt? Is that the right? I can't tell. I genuinely don't know. I would say good in terms of where I'd put it on the tier list. Catboy does a lot of good support, but not really much else. They enhance other units. They can apply mutilate and whatnot. Like, it's not bad unit. It's very support heavy and basically deals no damage. I mean, 500 million is something, but the SP is so low, it doesn't matter. Now, that is the least interesting unit, obviously, so I will say next, we'll go with Rim. I think Rim is used here, easily. Rim and Rom are both very, very strong. They can be strong DPS with the ability, and they're already going to be strong support and utility-wise, so they're going to be good regardless, right? Rim and Rom are two separate units. If you didn't watch the showcase, let me show you for a second. They are two separate units, and they do hemorrhage and incidental, by the way, which is already insane. So they're two separate units, deal up a very similar amount of damage, and they have a really fast SBA. They got a few abilities. They buff the same as each other. They get rupture, mutilate, whatever. After 8 waves, they double their damage almost. And then they have an ability, or Rom does, that gives them like triple damage or something. It makes them both do good DPS as well as all the utility that they have. So I think Rim and Rom are very good for sure. Let's do Regulus. I think Regulus is also in use tier. I'm not necessarily doing this from left to right, left being better than the right or whatever, but I'm gonna try to do that if I can. I think Regulus is probably not as good as Rim and Rom, but also very good at the same time. He is able to do a lot of the things that you need to use Reinhardt, and I'll get to that in a minute. But fear, pressure, good debuffs, time stop, good to have. All of these things are good to have. The marked and this is what I'm mainly going to be using Regulus for personally. If Reinhardt didn't exist, I would put Regulus in probably good tier instead. But since Reinhardt does exist, and we'll go ahead and get into him, I think Reinhardt is probably the best unit, DPS wise for sure. But he gains buffs and debuffs, or when he gets debuffs, he gets buffed equally to that debuff, and I think that's what makes him incredibly good. And also his DPS is pretty high in general. He's got a decent nuke. He doesn't like his nuke resistance isn't a thing for him, which is really nice. All buffs are 2x more effective, and debuffs are equal to buff. So he is actually getting double buffed by Regulus, and Regulus is buffing himself by being able to use his ability, obviously. So I think that alone makes Regulus worth using, just to pair him with Reinhardt, honestly. That's just me, my personal opinion. Regulus himself would probably be good tier. Subaru, honestly, I haven't used him a ton. He's probably my least. Why am I not able to drag? Hello? Did I break it? There we go. That's weird. Anyways, Subaru is probably the person I've used the least. I'll probably put him between Rim and Rom and Regulus for now. He's got a whole lot going on. He has decent DPS. He has stun, damage, movement counters, time stop, lots of time stop, lots of reverse, lots of utility, not a whole lot of damage. He's kind of like a newer Lelouch, kinda. Like, if I were to compare him to anybody, he's very similar to Lelouch. So he's good for sure. I just don't know if he's as good as Rim and Rom or not, honestly. That's why I'm saying it's not necessarily in order from left to right, but like at least first impressions wise, Rim and Rom just seem better, I think. And then the Witch of Greed, honestly, might be the second best unit of the update. This might be a little controversial. I know. It might be. But I do think that she is the second best unit. She does everything. As a support unit, she does literally everything. I went over this in my other video already, but she does everything, dude. I probably need to get a trait on her, that way that she has more range and whatever. But she gets, I mean, she literally just does everything. She buffs everybody by a ton. She does status effects, she does stun, whatever. Like, I don't know, man. She's a really good support. I don't know if I'd necessarily say she's bad. I mean, maybe more like here. But either way, I don't know, man. I feel like just having her on the team, you know? Like, it's that one spot, you know, you bring the Smith and Vanguards, you bring her here. You know what I mean? So I think this is probably what I'm going to go with for my final list. In terms of who's DPS and who's support, I think Reinhardt's DPS, obviously. Rim and Rom are mainly support. Subaru's kind of both, honestly. I'd say more than likely you're using him for support, though. Support-wise, I think this is... Yo, this looks so weird. But I mean, DPS-wise, he's the only one with high DPS, right? Like, compared to the other updates. I would say this isn't necessarily in an order of like who brings the most support or whatever, but this is my support list and this is my DPS list. I don't know for sure if I want to put him in DPS or support, but either way, I mean, he mostly does support. I think that's what you're really using him for. Like, for example, if I'm bringing Lelouch into a game, I'm not bringing Lelouch for his DPS, I'm bringing him for the support. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's the same concept there, so that's mainly why I'm doing that. But I don't know. You guys should let me know what you think. If you want more tier list videos, do you think my opinions are terrible? I don't know. But quick reminder to everybody, I do have a Discord server. I'm trying to get a decent community going in there. It's actually fairly active at the moment. We do a lot of giveaways, like a lot of giveaways, it seems like. As well as I'm trying to hit 10k subs by the end of the year. So that'd be really cool. But yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to say in this video. Just a quick tier list video, because I figured I would try it. I haven't really done one before, you know, and I figured this was a good chance. I have been awake for, I think, 24 hours now, though. So I'm going to edit this, and then I'm going to go to bed. Bye-bye, guys. Please don't hate me for my opinions.